Good morning to Mr. Kanesh and my fellow friends. Today, our group will be presenting Task 3 of PAKK1182 Continuous Assessment Task. Now, let us begin with our presentation. So, this is our group members. Our group consists of 3 members, which is myself, Angeline Chai Jan, and my 2 friends, which are Lo Ziling and Tai En Chi. So, these are the contents of our slide.
First of all, let us start with our introduction. Despite proven approaches like translanguaging and visual aids, teachers across Malaysia continue to face complex challenges when teaching English in bilingual or multilingual settings. The reality is stark. In classrooms where children navigate multiple home languages, Malay, Tamil, Mandarin, and more, teachers struggle with limited proficiency support, culturally disconnected materials, and assessment systems ill-equipped for multilingual growth. These challenges compound daily, risking diminished child engagement and teacher burnout. Yet, this isn't just a pedagogical issue, it's a national imperative, with English proficiency directly linked to future socio-economic mobility and Malaysia's multicultural identity at the heart of our classrooms. We must reimagine solutions. Before going to the point of the first solution, let's have a look on the first challenge in teaching English for early childhood education in bilingual and multilingual contexts. Teacher proficiency issue and training gaps. These challenges is supported by, first, the requirement of must take the Malaysian University English Test (MUAT) and achieve C1 level in the CEFR framework does not apply to ECE option teachers who teach children ages 4 to 6, a sensitive period for language learning. Besides that, Go in 2019 highlights that many preschool teachers rated themselves as having low proficiency in English, especially in speaking and writing. Furthermore, this statement of teacher proficiency issue is supported by Rosalie and Razwan in 2020, who found that teachers in early childhood education were less confident in their personal language skills, especially in pronunciation. This is the impact of the challenge. The first is classrooms lack communicative environments, and the second is inconsistent language modeling, such as pronunciation, and the third will be over-reliance on translation or avoidance of English using in classroom. Furthermore, the training gaps and its impact, Zamin et al. In 2022 highlight that there is insufficient of professional training related to the CEFR. The CEFR training that received by teachers was often too brief and superficial, leaving them unsure about how to align their classroom practice with the curriculum requirements. As a result, ECE teachers lack knowledge of multilingual pedagogy and rely on the traditional method, unaware that play-based learning and technology can enhance children's language acquisition through real-life context and social interaction. To overcome the challenges mentioned earlier, implementing a mandatory tier certification system could be an effective solution. This solution rests on 3 pillars. First, policy reform. Second, tiered upskilling. And third, strategic incentives. The suggestion for the policy reform is to amend Education Regulations 2024 to mandate MOET Band 5, which equivalent to CFR C1 level for early childhood education teachers. By 2026, new teachers should meet B2 level. By 2030, all teachers should meet C1 standard. For teachers who are struggling now, Foundation Tears offers subsidized pronunciation clinic at IPG campuses, targeting mother tongue English issue like vowel endings. For those near proficiency, advanced tier micro-credentials on improved English language teaching center teach grammar modeling. But upskilling needs motivation. A 400 ringgit monthly raise for reaching C1 recognized efforts. Non-financial rewards like conference slots or digital badges added to IPG portfolios build professional prestige. The second solution is pedagogy focuses professional development. In this solution, we focus on two practical pillars. The first is CFR-aligned immersion workshops, and the second is multilingual strategy lab. In the immersion workshop, teacher can learn TPAKK tech integration model which help in bridges technology and play. This training equips teachers to use digital tools strategically, amplifying play while meeting CFR standards. In this workshop, teachers experience 3 hands-on stations. AR phonics station, using QR Vision AR, children scan animal flashcards to see 3D tigers roaring while learning sounds. This targets CFR A1 naming skills. The second station will be storytelling station. With book creators, kids record their own voices narrating stories in Malay, English, Chinese, or Tamil will help them build CFR A2 sentence skills. The third will be assessment station. Seesaw portfolios let teachers discreetly record a child explaining block structures in English during playtime. No tests, but just real evidence of progress. In multilingual strategy labs, teachers can learn strategies that make multilingual teaching concrete. For example, using translanguaging banks. This systematically exposes children to vocabulary in Malay, English, Tamil, and also Chinese through 3 components. First, we create team play zone with tangible objects linked to multilingual labels. For example, at the kitchen area, they handle toy bananas with label Chinese, Malay, Tamil, and also English words. This can make the vocabulary acquisition sensory and contextual. Next, teacher can embed these words into daily activities like transition activities. For example, a language ticket game can use in this transition activity. Teacher says, "Give me the English tickets for this." Then, child who holds a toy apple should shout "apple" to earn passage through the door. This activity can turn the routines into low-pressure practice moments. Lastly, progress is tracked via assessment. Teachers identify gaps without using tests, like noticing a child struggles with the pronunciation of apple. The third solution is systemic support infrastructure. Component 1. Establish professional learning communities. Monthly professional learning communities meetings at IPG campuses allow teachers to share lesson plans and troubleshoot language interference. While the Digital Hub Improve English Language Teaching Center provides curated resources, including Malay English pronunciation charts and annotated multilingual storybooks. Component 2. Create language ambassador programs. Bilingual parents receive MOE training to co-lead cultural storytelling sessions. For example, a Chinese parent might share the Chang'e legend in Mandarin, while the teacher highlights the key terms in English. This bridges a home language and the school language divide.
So now, I will be explaining one of the challenges in teaching English to children in early childhood education, which is the diversity linguistic background of children. As we know, Malaysia is a multilingual and multicultural country where children often grow up speaking different types of mother tongues. This diversity brings richness to the classroom, but it also presents challenges for English language learning. In this section, we are going to explore how these languages differences affect the children learning exposure, learning experiences, and also what teacher can do to create a supportive and inclusive learning environment. Malaysia is a unique country with a diverse population made up of various ethnic groups. For example, Malays, Chinese, Indians, and some indigenous communities which live in Sabah and Sarawak. Therefore, it is common for children in the same classroom to speak different types of mother tongues. For example, a child from a Malay family may speak Bahasa Melayu at home. A Chinese child may speak Mandarin or other Chinese dialects. An Indian child may use Tamil, and children from indigenous communities may speak languages such as Dusun, Kadazan, and Dayak. So, these linguistic differences contribute to varying levels of English exposure and understanding and posing challenges for teachers in early childhood classroom. Because of the linguistic differences, not all children have the same level of exposure to English. Some children may have been exposed to English at home through cartoons, storybooks, or even conversation with their own parents or siblings. However, there are also children who rarely or never use English outside the classroom. For them, English is only heard or only learned during the lesson or when they are in the classroom. Since language learning is highly influenced by daily interaction and practice, children with less exposure may struggle to understand the lesson, they struggle to pronounce the English words correctly, or even remember or learn a new vocabulary in English. In many cases, the classroom becomes the only place where young children or young learners are exposed to English. This is especially true for the children who come from the B40 families. According to Ramasamy et al. 2024, parents in this group may have limited time due to work demands, lower educational backgrounds, or a lack of English proficiency to support their children's learning. Because of these challenges, children often receive a little or even no English practice at home. Since the home environment is an important part of language development, so when the English input is limited, the children become fully dependent on the classroom to build their language skill. So this places extra responsibility on the teachers to bridge the gap and provide more targeted supports during the lesson or during the class. In some rural areas, the use of local dialects or the mother tongue is more even common than English. For example, or for instance, children may speak Iban or Dusun at home or with their own community. These languages are widely spoken in certain regions, even more than English. As a result, even though the children come from a diverse linguistic backgrounds, they may have very little exposure to English in their everyday lives. According to SENI 2029, Professor Dr. Hariharan from University Utara, Malaysia, has explained that this makes it more difficult to teach English in rural areas because the children do not get hear or use English regularly. So now, let us move on to look at the conclusion for the point that I have explained just now, which is the diversity linguistic background of children. So nowadays, many parents expect their children to speak English fluently from a young age. This places additional pressure on educators or teachers, especially when teacher or educators teaching children from various language background. This means that the educators must not only manage different English ability levels, but also need to meet these expectations from the parents while ensuring no child is left behind. Therefore, educators must be alert or sensitive to each child's linguistic background and create an inclusive environment where all children feel supported. Next, let us look at the solution. So this part, I will explain the solution to overcome the challenge that I have explained just now, which is diversity linguistic background of children. So the first solution is use of multilingual strategy in teaching. In a multilingual classroom, not all children have the same level of exposure to English. Some may be fluent, while some may only learn English at school. Using multilingual strategy means that teachers use children's home language to support their understanding of English. So, this strategy can help the children to feel more comfortable, less anxious, and more willing to participate during the lesson. It also allows them to make a connection between the language they already know and the new words they're learning in English. So, according to Tongwachi and Ula in 2024, when the children understanding the meaning clearly in their own language, it becomes easier for them to use and apply the English words. So now, let's take a look for the example. So, let's say the teacher one day want to introduce the words apple to the children. If some children cannot understand the word apple, then the teacher can say like this. This is an apple. Dalam bahasa Melayu, kita panggil epal. By linking the word apple to epal, which sounds more familiar, the children from different backgrounds will understand faster and feel more confident saying the new English words, which is apple. So this is the second solution, which is create a language-rich environment. Creating a language-rich environment means surrounding the children with English throughout their daily activities. Firstly, A teacher can label the common classroom items, for example, like chair, table, or door, so the children can see and hear this word every day. And they can start to recognize and remember the items or this word easily. Next, teacher can use daily English routines. This includes simple songs like greetings, action songs such as head, shouldering, and toes, or giving basic instruction like line up, wash your hands, and clean up. Besides this, teacher can also support their learning by using visual aids or visual and repeating words in different ways. For example, teacher can use flashcards, storybooks, or picture or poster with English vocabulary. Repetition helps children to remember without needing them to memorize the vocabulary. Most importantly, teacher can help children to build their vocabulary need to help the children to build their vocabulary without any pressure. Learning English should be fun and natural. Teacher need to let the children to learn English through games, storytelling, and songs. When doing all this activity, teachers should not too strict for the pronunciation for the children. Teachers should let them to learn all this pronunciation and vocabulary by their own. So in this way, the children will feel more confident and more enjoy using the language. So now, let us move on to the third solution to overcome the challenge that I have explained just now, which is diversity linguistic background of children. The third solution is differentiated and inclusive instruction. Differentiated and inclusive instruction means teacher adapt the teaching method based on the needs of each child because not all children are at the same stage. Some children may already know how to speak English, while some students are still learning their first English words. So by using the differentiated instruction, teacher will give children different tasks to do, or will give different levels of support for the children. For example, children who are just beginning to learn English may be given simpler tasks like matching picture to the words. Meanwhile, more advanced learners can join storytelling activity. The goal is to make sure that every child can learn and succeed at their own level. At the same time, teachers can also practice inclusive instruction, where ensure that every child feels accepted and supported in the classroom. One of the effective strategies is peer learning. For instance, teacher can pair a confident English speaker with a child who is still learning. The confident English speaker, the child can be the model of pronunciation and help to explain the new words to the beginners. So this can make the beginners feel safer and more encouraged to try to speak English. Other than that, teacher can also give additional support by repeating instruction, using visual aids or gesture, and offering individual guidance when needed. All these small actions can make a big difference and help to ensure that all children are actively involved in the learning process.
After listening to the explanation from the previous speakers, I will now continue by discussing one of the key challenges for teaching English for ECE children in the bilingual and multilingual context, which is the lack of multilingual resources and also materials. In Malaysia, where many children grow up with a variety of language such as Mandarin, Tamil, and also Malay language, it is important for preschool classroom to support English learning alongside with their home languages. However, in many preschool, especially in rural areas, the materials available are mostly in one language only. This makes it difficult for children to connect what they are learning in class with the language they use at home. Language learning starts with recognition. If children cannot find a language or culture they are familiar with in the classroom, they may struggle to understand and use English language in their daily life. Let us take a look for the importance of multilingual resources and also materials. It helps a child to learn better when new content is linked to their existing language, and also boost understanding and motivation to help a child to continue to learn English language. Multilingual resources and materials often lack in dual language books, technology, and also teacher materials. After that, we will move on to the challenges in the lack of multilingual resources and materials. First of all, most textbook and teaching aids are monolingual, are either only in English language or only in the local language. Without materials in children's home language, they find it hard to understand or connect with the new English concept. This makes it harder for them to follow the English lessons. For example, if a Tamil-speaking child only sees English storybook with unfamiliar names or setting, they may feel disconnected from the stories. Besides that, it also decreases the children's self-confidence in the English lesson. When their language or culture is not represented in the classroom, children may feel excluded and also hesitate to engage in the activities. Furthermore, teachers also lack appropriate teaching tools. In rural areas, teachers are forced to create their own content. However, not all teachers are trained to do this effectively. Teachers may not have the time and resources to design suitable bilingual worksheets and materials, and also find translator story for the non-native speakers children. This will affect children learning language process. Now, I would like to highlight some differences between urban areas and also rural preschool when it comes to bilingual and multilingual teaching resources. In urban areas, teachers often have access to dual language storybooks, interactive English videos that are available in Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil language. These tools helps children to connect English with their home languages and cultures. Moreover, urban preschool often have better access to technology like projectors, internet, laptops, and apps with language support. However, in the other hand, in rural preschool, the situation is very different. There are usually lack of multilingual books, lack internet, or even basic devices like laptop. Teachers in rural areas often have to make their own worksheets by hand and rely on blackboard-based teaching only. These limited resources create a barrier for children to relate English learning to their real-world experiences. We have discussed the key challenges faced in teaching English in EC context. Now, let us move on to the solution that can help to overcome these problems in the bilingual and multilingual classroom. The teaching of English requires preparation, planning, and engaging teaching aids. Teachers should plan lessons that are both fun and educational to make sure that the children can stay engaging and also excited to learn new things. According to Nagli and Esa in 2021, hands-on and minds-on learning is the most efficient way in the learning language process. For example, by using flashcard, puppets, and also real-life objects, can support hands-on learning and also create a meaningful language experience for a child. This not only helps them to learn new words but also boosts their confidence by connecting English language to their daily life. The teaching aid should also include the cultural and linguistic representation in materials such as songs, stories, and nursery rhymes from different languages. Furthermore, to address the lack of appropriate teaching tools among preschool teachers, the relevant authorities should focus on providing simple and ready-to-use materials such as bilingual poster, flashcard, and also visual aids. Teachers in rural areas also need to be provided low technology teaching tools like bilingual and multilingual picture cards, storybooks, and also laminated vocabulary boards that can be used repeatedly in the rural areas. Additionally, collaboration between teachers should also be encouraged through platforms like WhatsApp and Telegram that allowing them to share resources, ideas, and also classroom strategies with each another. It supports community where experienced teachers can share their ideas and strategies with urban or rural teachers. Moreover, to help children understand better with English content, teacher can start by translating stories they are familiar with. Teacher can translate the familiar local stories and folktales into English language. For instance, teacher can translate the storybook named Sang Kancil dengan Buaya that are more familiar with the children so that the children can be understand better with the story and more interested to read the books. Furthermore, teacher can also provide English books with side-by-side home language text, such as translate English language into Tamil language. When teacher translates storybooks into both English and child home language, it helps children to have a deeper understanding of vocabulary and also sentence structures. Additionally, teacher can also encourage parents to share their story with their children from home in both languages. This strengthens the connection between English learning and also fostering their family relationship. Last but not least, many ECE teacher training programs in Malaysia do not provide in-depth preparation for a bilingual or multilingual environment. As a result, teachers may lack knowledge of second language acquisition theories or effective strategies such as code switching or translanguaging. To overcome these challenges, it is crucial to train teachers in multilingual teaching strategies and resource development, like translanguaging, where both English and home languages are used together. According to Eric Gomez-Burgos, in 2024, provide access to bilingual dictionaries, apps, and multilingual text to help learners better understanding the content in English. Additionally, all of these strategies must be practical for low resource setting. It is because many rural preschool lack printers and stable internet. So instead of relying on expensive material and depending on the technology, teachers should be trained to use simple and affordable tools like hand-drawn pictures, recycled paper, picture cards, or puppets. These tools may look simple, but they are effective to deliver meaningful English lessons in challenging environments. In conclusion, in addressing the challenges of English language teaching in bilingual and multilingual early childhood contexts, it is clear that issues such as linguistic diversity, insufficient teacher training, and also the lack of multilingual resources require urgent and coordinated attention from all of us. To overcome these barriers, there must be systematic support through curriculum reform, teacher professional development, cultural inclusive materials, and also stronger relationship between school and families. The collaboration between preschool teachers, parents, and also children play a vital role in thriving the English language among young learners. By embracing linguistic diversity rather than a barrier, educators can create a more supportive and effective learning environment for all children.